10th Planet HQ. This for the 10th Planet qualifier, the 10PQ 24. It is all about the Absolute Tournament. It goes down October 23rd in El Paso, Texas, and the road to El Paso starts here in Los Angeles.
A couple of the smaller guys in the Absolute bracket, huh, TJ?
It's funny. You never know exactly what you're going to get in the Absolute, but these guys, they look like they're in a divisional tournament. It's not an open weight class with these two. They look right around the same size.
Yeah, they look pretty similar. I would say Justin's a little bit thinner for sure, but, definitely two of the smaller dudes in the bracket.
I always love the Absolute because you get to play like the carnival game, Guess your weight.
Guess your weight.
I get a prize.
Absolutely, they do. And, size not being the biggest factor all the time. Like we saw earlier, Donnie Bryan taking the win over heel hook on Matt Horwich, who was considerably larger than him. So,
that was the old saying, early UFCs, Royce Gracie was small, but now we're in a time where I believe size and strength has a bigger impact because you got to believe that everybody here, they're not novices by any means when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Their technique, it's all on point. So strength probably does have a bigger factor than it did, obviously, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you just said, TJ, it's like when people actually have technique and knowledge, strength becomes a big factor. When all else is even, strength will sometimes be the determining factor in who will be victorious. And, you see that when guys are evenly weight, but maybe have different body types and musculature and things of that nature, as we see a really nice hip control to mount from Reynaldo Camacho. Just hip pressured his way down over Justin Turner, figure forward the legs a la Khabib style, and then mounted him. And now he's got an underhook on the left arm. His hips are heavy. Justin Turner is in a world of pressure right now.
What are your thoughts on the mount position here with the traditional EBI rules? In combat jiu-jitsu, it's a good place to strike, but here in EBI, do you want to force your opponent to wear the weight a little bit more before you get aggressive and try to grab something, or do you feel this is a good position to try to be offensive and grab an Ezekiel or something like that?
Yeah, it's everyone. It really comes down to styles. It's like if you're a guy who's a good pressure guy and you're, that's your spot. A lot of people, for some reason, they don't ever develop a great mount.
Right. Because
there's a fundamental lack of understanding of control sometimes. And I'm seeing right now from Reynaldo, he does not lack that understanding. He understands what it means to control the mount because he's keeping Justin's arm isolated the entire time. And what that has done is that's forced Justin to only push Reynaldo's hips with his left arm, his free arm. And Reynaldo's hips have been plugged in down the entire time. And I know the camera can't see, but we can from our angle, where Reynaldo actually has his feet crossed under Justin's butt. He's pulling his heels towards Justin's hips. So what that does is that doesn't enable Justin to use his legs effectively to swim or Alcatraz his way back into some sort of guard. Reynaldo's just done a really good job of keeping Justin's arm controlled, keeping the pressure right above that shoulder line below the elbow, and keeping it isolated. And, I think a lot of guys don't use this to their advantage in the way that mount used to be thought of. It used to be thought of in a position where you would cook the guy. My coach originally was a Brazilian, and, he would say, cook the beans. If you're Mexican like me, beans take a long time to cook.
Sure.
You can't cook beans fast. So you got to cook the beans and just kind of let people cook under pressure. And I think that's what Reynaldo is doing. And I think Justin is starting to turn and maybe give up the back because he's feeling threatened by that head and arm.
And I feel in like MMA, the mount is looked at as more of a position where you try to get a higher mount. You try to get up their body and utilize it for strikes. Where, like you said, you can cook your opponent here.
Yeah, I think I'm in MMA and CJJ. When you're striking, nobody disputes that mount is a dominant position.
Right, of course.
But in sub-only rule set, we've seen it many times from many guys. They play possum, they let you mount them, and then they explode into leg attacks from there. And that is a good technique if that is your style, like we said before. You know, it looked like Reynaldo's style was heavy pressure on top, mountain. But now we see Justin on top, and that might be...
Scott Ross telling them to reset in the center of the mat. There's a lot of action there late as they got away from the center of the mat here. So now we're going to get restarted and Turner on top.
Turner getting his opportunity. He weathered the storm, and now let's see if he can capitalize while he's on top. Let's see what kind of bottom game Reynaldo has. Well, a cow catcher looks like he's going to lose position if he doesn't pull that foot out. If he leaves that foot in, he's going to maintain top position. And I'd like to see Turner. I would have liked to see Turner insert that foot rather than step over, because he could have had 100% attempt. But nonetheless, he steps all the way over, ends up in top half, but does not have the underhook. And that will be the battle from here. Camacho inserting his hook, elevating Turner, looking to get that entry into a inside Senkaku position, but Turner steps over the head with his right leg, and now we're in this position where Camacho is looking to figure out a way to come up on top and take the back, or just to come to his knees and regain the top position. But he's being strategic in the way he's coming up. He's not in a rush. Looks like Camacho's trying to insist on that leg attack, and he does. Looks like he's going honey hole, aka inside Senkaku position, with his left leg reaping over the top of Turner's. Turner is a good leg locker. I've trained with him many times myself. He's got good heel hooks.
Is it one of those things where if you're an offensive leg attacker, just because you know the offense so well, that you're pretty good on defense, or is it two different mindsets?
I mean, it's definitely, you know, you have to know both, right? Nobody's going to be good. You can get some attacks off, but if you don't know defense, you're going to get countered, right? You know, against, you might get some taps against guys who don't know what they're doing, but when people know what they're doing with leg attacks, the real danger comes in counters. You know, somebody initiates, somebody defends, and then one guy counters, and then the other guy counters, and they counter back and forth. And that's where you see inside heel hooks and 50-50 position becoming, you know, those finishers, because people are more and more savvy every day. They're getting more and more data points of collection. They're learning the routes, what means of defense work best.
I'm a big fan of just seeing that breakdown where, you know, a guy will attack one leg, but really his mind is on trying to attack the other. They're baiting them to think one way and then, you know, quickly transition and switch. And that's what I think has been the biggest evolution of the leg game is, you know, you might look over here, but really you need to look over there.
Oh, totally, totally. And you know, obviously we have to give credit when credit's due. Guillotine attempt here by Justin Turner. That's pretty deep.
It is going to his back. Here's the tap. Nicely done. Justin Turner secures the submission and the spot in the quarterfinals. A guillotine will get it done.